Hi, this is Fady from Harpy Productions, and today I want to talk to you guys about Apple AirPods Pro Gen 1 versus Gen 2. I was doing a lot of research myself when I wanted to get the Gen 2, and I was wondering, is it worth it? Because I was already happy with Gen 1 for whatever it did. And then I was trying to find a lot of online research on, is the quality worth it or not? And that's the main thing I want to discuss today. There is obviously some clear distinctions between both, that the Gen 2 has that little speaker built in where you can ding it and find it in the room if you want it to, and then has the little loop thing where you can put a little strap or a loop to it so you can hold it from it. I like those. Obviously there's the battery lifetime. The Gen 2 has a little bit more battery lifetime in it. And these are all obvious standard specs that Apple mentions and clarifies on their website. But I want to focus on today is mainly two things, which would be the main reason why you would want to upgrade, is noise reduction as well as audio quality. Let's start with noise reduction. I tried both in very loud environments. I was at Starbucks, super loud. Also, I tried them on a plane, which is normally really loud, and then I tried them at an airport. I would say Gen 2 was slightly bit more, but it's not like significant more, if that makes sense. I wouldn't justify still spending the $250 just because I get a couple more dB noise reduction in my ears where it's not as loud. It's so minimal in my opinion. I would still Gen 2 wins, but it's not a huge difference where, okay, I can now get rid of this one and then spend another $250 for this one. Okay, let's dig into audio quality. Audio quality for me obviously matters a lot. You guys can see this is what I do for a living, is audio mixing, mastering. So audio quality was a huge thing for me that I wanted to make sure that, is it worth it or not? When I put both to test, I listened to multiple stuff that I've done myself, stuff that I listened to on iTunes or Spotify. I listened in the same room, so I have the same amount of noise around me. And I also made sure that I listen at the same exact volume level, because normally if you listen to something slightly louder, it tends to trick your ear that it sounds a little bit better. And here's kind of what I found. The first thing that I found is mid-range. Gen 1 is a little bit more mid-heavy. You can feel like the vocals are sticking out more in the middle, and then like the snare drum are sticking out more in the middle. So stuff that are playing in the mid-range of the song, they're actually more forward. Low end is clean, but I'm not getting that sub feel, if that makes sense. So I'm getting that 150 and 200, but I'm not really getting much of that 40 hertz. It almost reminded me a little bit, but not with the same exaggerations, as the Yamaha NS10s. And anybody worked in studios, they're very familiar with this. They are very mid-heavy, and the curve kind of feels like this a little bit, where the lows are scooped down a little bit, especially on the subs, and then the mids are boosted a little bit. The other thing I noticed in Gen 1 is the stereo image, because normally when you boost your mids a little bit more, it kind of narrows your stereo image as well, because then you have more things that you're feeling centered in the middle of the image that are more in your face. It makes it less immersive sitting inside the music, if that makes sense. When I compare that to Gen 2, listening to the same song, and not just the same song, I even cropped the song to like a verse, and I'm listening to just the exact verse on both, so that way I compare, and then I listen to the chorus on both. One of the first thing I noticed mid-range on Gen 2, it's more flat, it's more pleasant, it's not in your face, it's not as harsh as Gen 1. Also, going down below 100 hertz, or maybe even below 80 hertz. I can feel the sub frequencies, like especially in the kick, for example. On Gen 1, I'm getting more of the slap from the kick. It's super tight, I'm getting the slap from the kick, but I'm not really getting any of the sub or the subharmonics of the kick. As well as the bass, I'm getting that 120, 140 out of the bass, but like that 50 and 60 and all the sub frequencies of the bass, I wasn't getting it as much. With Gen 2, definitely getting it a whole lot more. On the highs, I didn't notice as much difference, to be honest. They both felt similar, not a big difference. I would say normally if you boost the mids, it would make the highs sounds like as if it's a little less, because it's a ratio and relationship between low, mid, and highs. So in Gen 1, I feel like the mids are boosted up a little bit more, so it makes the lows are a little bit down. It makes the highs feel a little bit down, but then in Gen 2, because the mids are more flat and more balanced, it makes you feel like you get a little bit more highs in your mix. But I don't think it was actually brighter. It was just because the mids are cleaned a little bit. Is that worth it or not? Because that's kind of majority of the questions. Do I spend the 250 bucks or not? The extra battery life, sure, it's great, but honestly, Gen 1 battery life was been amazing, and it's one of the best AirPods that I've used. Being able to ding it and play the speaker, built-in speaker on the unit to find it in your room, I'll leave that to you. If that's something, are you losing it around every time, or you can easily find it. Obviously the belt loop and stuff, that's not really a reason why I would upgrade this. Comes to noise reduction, in my opinion, it's not worth the upgrade. Now comes to audio quality. If you are in the audio business, if you care about audio quality significantly, sure, it's significantly better in mid-range and low end, so that might be a good enough reason for you to upgrade. But here's the thing, there's so many more brands out there, in my opinion, sounds significantly better than these. Like, I'm comparing this to this, so I'm saying, well, sure, Gen 2 is better than Gen 1, but if I'm comparing AirPods in general to other speakers, especially that I'm used to using a little bit more higher quality speakers, it's still nothing. Like, when I put these on and then take it off and I put my other headphones that I have in the studio, or my Bose headphones, or even my in-ears that I use on the stage, the difference is significant. It's almost like not even comparable. So for an average user, sure, you might notice a little bit more difference and it might make it worth it for you. But if you're so picky about audio quality, honestly, I wouldn't use this to listen to music or this. In my line of work, the only reason why I have this, for online meetings, Zoom meetings, phone calls, so that way I don't keep the phone in my ears the whole time. Also, I listen to mixes on them because now I know that a lot of people are listening to mixes on these and masters, so I'm gonna make sure that they still sound decent on both of them. But I do not use this as my primarily headphone for listening to music. I hope that helps you making a decision if that's worth it for you or not. Quality wise, some of the main differences between Gen 1 and Gen 2 in regards to noise isolation and audio quality, specifically mid-range and the sub-frequencies in the low end. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the next one.